The British government has recently published a plan to dictate how you will see the news online, and you have less than 4 weeks to object. Simply put, which news organisations get pushed to the top and which ones get pushed so far down the search results that you'll need a pneumatic drill to dig them up. The summer break's now over and we're back. Now take a look at these 2 news items. Which looks the most trustworthy to you? Okay, now which one do you think the government would want sat at the top of your search feed? That's right, the BBC article. And this particular BBC news item was only just over 10 years on being late on getting it right. At least no one can say the BBC don't check their sources thoroughly. And in case you missed it, these are both the same story. The one on the left, the Computer Weekly article from 2009, nailed it first time. The BBC story on the right was 12 years behind getting this story correct. And in that 12-year gap, around 1,000 sub-postmasters were convicted. Some went to prison, some lost their homes, and at least 13 sub-postmasters took their own lives. And this tragedy was allowed to happen because the Post Office spent over a decade insisting that the problem wasn't their software, when in fact it was. The travesty being that the story broke in 2009, but not anywhere that you'd have seen. But hey, when the BBC takes over a decade to check its sources, then maybe they can be trusted after all. If you prefer your news neatly packaged and always at the top of the feed, then maybe don't subscribe. As for the rest of us who like a freedom of the press or what's left of it, and maybe we can all keep it going together. Okay, back to the story. In June, the government published a document called Watch This Space. It's a green paper on the future of the British media and news and how it's represented online. And buried inside it is a plan to make sure news that the government deems trustworthy, i.e. BBC One, ITV, Channel 4, is placed at the top of your search feed. And the kicker, that it's going to be prioritised by law. Now, if you're one of those totalitarian liberals, you know the kind, then this might seem like a good idea. Fight disinformation, put the grown-ups back in charge, because of course the government always has our best interest at heart, right? Wrong. Because there's one word in this document, an innocuous sounding word, the word is prominence. And because this noun's so sneaky, there's a question that no one's asking. If you're deciding who gets to the top of the list, then who gets pushed to the bottom? So let's track back and give you the whole story. First, the official version.
The way we consume broadcast media is changing, and television is undergoing a profound transformation, having moved away from a system of traditional channels to a far more fragmented system where people access TV on demand and on video sharing platforms. Young people in particular are far more likely to access media on their phones and tablets, through streaming services and platforms. And we believe, as a government, that we are not equipping that generation adequately with access to high-quality media.
Really? Because it seems to me that this generation has the best access to a multitude of high-quality, non-government sanctioned media than any other generation in the history of the world. Let's keep watching.
There are 3 key areas where we intend to act. The first is around digital prominence, where we're exploring legislative options to require social media platforms and connected TV interfaces to make public service media content, particularly trusted news, highly visible and easy to discover.
This is the plan. Platforms legally bound to make public service media easier to find. Yeah, it's so hard to find Channel 5 news. Actually, she might have a point with that one.
This is not about promoting government narratives or only the BBC.
Yes, it is.
It is about ensuring the brilliant journalism from many of our news publishers, both local and national and broadcasters, can get in front of the public.
No, it isn't. These are the names at the top of their trusted list. This list is written by the government. Lisa Nandy's name's on the paper. It's policed by Ofcom, whose chair is selected by the government. And Ofcom's new chair, selected just days before this paper went out, Sir Ian Cheshire. His last job in TV, chairman of Channel 4. Now that's what I call a stitch-up job. I know, it's a neat job by Nandy. There's nothing like the government having our best interests at heart. And this is nothing like it. So, back to that boring word, prominence. Just another boring word in another boring document that nobody apart from me can be bothered to read. A boring word that tells us that the government will give prominence to certain news outlets online. The use of prominence has been subtle government programming for years, and you've been affected by it your entire news-watching life without even noticing. Don't believe me? Let me prove it to you. Think about your average TV control. What's at the top? Channel number 1. It's the entire reason that BBC One is button 1 on your remote and isn't buried down on channel 800. Now that's prominence. I know you've never thought about that, right? You just thought that number 1 being BBC One was there for convenience. Well, it is. It's just not for your convenience. It's for theirs. And here's something else. YouTube saw this coming before the paper even landed. One of their own execs, David Whelan, said that these rules could force the platform to give special treatment to a small number of organisations handpicked by a government. When it's YouTube that's warning us about concentrated and controlled information showing up in our feeds, we've travelled somewhere very strange indeed. Yep, these are weird times. But look, it's not all bad news. There's still time to stop this government action. Before I tell you how, here's a quick message.
Sharon used to have opinions, difficult ones, about what things she'd read. Then Sharon discovered Prominence from Smearco. We didn't take Sharon's websites away. That would be obvious censorship. We simply moved them below a recipe for slow cooker chili. And Sharon hasn't scrolled down that far since 2019. Now, Sharon watches the news at 6, like a normal person, because she doesn't even think about other news channels anymore. Prominence. Because nothing says a free and open internet like a totalitarian-style pre-approved running order.
Whilst everyone's arguing about the BBC, whether they should be on the list or not, no one's asking the question of why a government gets to decide that list in the first place. So it's not censorship, it's ranking. But ranking is going to be the new censorship for online news if we let it happen. This is a live government consultation and it's open right now, so you can write in anytime before the 31st of August 2026, let the government know how unhappy you are and hopefully that you want them to stop it. The link's in the description, so don't waste any time and let them know what you think. And share this video with anyone who cares about the freedom of the press. I'll see you next time, still here at the bottom of the internet.